Okay, so ChatBotHero features against competitors. I thought I'd take you through this because there are some competitors, some businesses offering chatbots, but let's see how they stack up. So I'll take you through the list we've had here. So number one is works instantly. With virtually every other competitor that we've seen, the user would have to create their own app in Facebook before the chatbot will work. With ChatBotHero, that's all done for you. It works out of the box. You don't need to create an app at all. And creating an app, by the way, I mean, it can be done. Of course, it's not super complicated, but it is time consuming and you do need to get it approved. So with ChatBotHero, there's none of that. Then we'll go through some of the typical features. Of course, auto chat. All of them will do auto chat because that's a basic function. All of them, or most of them, will do schedule messages. So you could schedule a message if you want to send messages to recipients. That's people that have interacted with your chatbot before. Those messages and also the responses can be text. Again, that's pretty standard. Button responses, again, pretty standard. And carousel responses, they're also quite standard. You should expect that with most chatbot services. A carousel response, in case you're not familiar, is a response that has a heading, a picture, and then multiple buttons. And basically you can scroll through a number of different products, for example, seeing their picture, the heading, description, and the buttons. We've got other videos showing you that, so just take a look in the tutorial sections and you'll see the videos on the carousel response. Then we're coming down to all these things that you will not find, or that we haven't been able to find anyway, in competing products. So number one is a callback API. Now, what's a callback API? This is a feature that enables your bot to actually interact with things like third-party services. So you could automatically put a user, take their email address and add them to your email autoresponder. You could confirm bookings through a third-party booking service like OpenTable and so forth. So basically the API allows you to interact with third-party services. Now you may think that that's probably more for advanced users, but you'll be surprised if your business uses third-party services, whether it's an email system or a booking system or even your shop. The API allows you to interact with the shop so that you can get somebody's order, you can confirm the order, confirm the reservation, take the reservation, and so forth. So underneath that we have add or save variables. So out of the box, most chatbot services include first name and last name, but the ChatBotHero has multiple variables, and you can add your own. So for example, you could add an email as a variable. You could add a time zone, the locale, that's the language. You could add, it automatically comes with gender, but basically you could add any variable that you like. And what that means is you could do surveys by simply adding variables. You could collect a mobile phone number, whatever you needed to collect or to identify a particular person or group of people, you could do that with ChatBotHero. And let me just show you some of the variables that we've got here. If I come into the demo, and here is the recipient's variables. You can see what we've got in here, and I can add as many as I want. Date, email, first name, gender, last name, locale, mobile number, time, and time zone. Again, all I have to do is click this button here and add another variable. So that's a huge feature. Then we have audio responses. So we can, instead of or in addition to giving text response, we can also give an audio response. And that can be a really cool feature, because it can act in exactly the same as a telephone could. And there'll be times when you might want to give an audio response. Really good for certain types of businesses, bands, music, anything to do, or languages. I mean, it's a huge thing. So you can basically add your MP3 files and give a audio response. Similarly, you can give video responses as well. So if someone asks how to do something, you can actually pull up a video response to show them how to do it. Now, this one's a really big feature. This is scheduled by recipient's time zone. So if you're sending a message to your customers, now you might not want to send them all at the same time, because, for example, if you've got a customer in Canada and you've got a customer in the UK, if you send it at the same time, say you send it at 11 o'clock in Canada in the evening, that is going to be about 5 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and you don't want someone's phone to be pinging at 5 in the morning if you can help it. So what ChatBotHero allows you to do is schedule your messages by the recipient's time zone if you choose. So that would mean you could set the message to be received at 9 o'clock wherever they happen to be in the world. So when they wake up, have their breakfast, 9 o'clock, they're going to get the message, rather than get it in the middle of the night. Then we've got multiple lists per project. So what this means is, let me show you the lists. So here we have what we call them subscription channels. Now, most chatbot services will give one list per project or per fan page, and therefore you can either send a message to people, individual people, or you can here. Let me show you. Normally, you would just do messages, and if you want to send a message or schedule a message, you would select who you're going to send to, or you could send to everyone. Okay, that's pretty standard with a lot of chatbot services. And then you would schedule it, as I said, with ChatBotHero. You can send it by the recipient's time zone. But we also have a facility here of channels. So this is different lists. So on this particular list here, CBH restaurant demo, these are the people that have seen the restaurant demo. I can send a message just to those people, and all I do here is click new broadcast. I give it a name, I select the response that I want to send them, and decide if I'm going to send it by my time zone or theirs, and then I select an interval, because you don't want to have loads of messages going instantly. So basically you could set it, for example, 60 seconds, and then it's queued up every 60 seconds. So that is what it means by having multiple lists. What makes this so important is that you can move a person from one list to another. So, for example, they could be on a prospect list, but as soon as they buy a product, they automatically, without you doing anything, can get moved onto a customer list. And so you can have all different lists. And that way you can make sure that only people on specific lists are going to get the messages that are applicable to them. So, for example, an estate agent could have multiple lists for people that are letting their properties, people that are looking to rent a property, people who are looking to buy, people who are selling. So they can have all sorts of lists, and therefore send out the right message to the right list. So that is multiple lists. Then we've got the subscription management that I just alluded to, and what that means is you can move one person to a different list simply by them typing in a specific word, or by them taking any type of action. So if they click a button, they can move from one list to another. So when they click the buy button, they can automatically go onto the buyers list and be taken off the prospect list. Similarly, you can also have in your messages, and this is quite important, you can have a button or an instruction to them to unsubscribe. So you can have them unsubscribe to a specific list or to all lists by your own choosing. So you can say, right, if you don't want to receive any more messages, just click this button here, or you could say type unsubscribe, or whatever you want to say, and then they will automatically be taken off one list or put on another, or whatever you've decided for them to do. It takes no work on your part. It's all down to how they respond to your messages. So coming down, we've also got case sensitive versus insensitive. So basically, this makes the bot a bit more intuitive. So you can say, for example, that if someone says hello with a capital H, they will receive the message. But if they say hello with a lowercase, they won't receive the message. Or you can say, I don't care what whether they put it in uppercase or lowercase, in which case the bot won't care. It will just look. So basically the bot will look to see if it's uppercase or lowercase. And this can be quite useful when you're building your bots. But in addition, and this is probably, this is one of the most important things, is we have what's called a regex option. This is regular expression. Now, regular expressions, they look quite complicated when you first look at them. Let me show you one, for example. Okay, we'll come here, and I'll show you. I come down to save email. Here we go. Here's some regular expressions: save date, save time. I've got another one further up here for saving email. And there we go. Now, what that does is, whenever someone puts in an email, the regex looks to make sure it's a proper email, and then it gives them the appropriate response. So if the bot were to ask them, put in your email, and they didn't put it in correctly, it wouldn't save the email. But if they put it in correctly, it will automatically save the email. So regex means that you can do really sophisticated, intelligent bots, because the regex looks for strings of characters or words. So it can look for anything you ask it to look for. Really powerful. Obviously, for basic users, you'll only use very basic regex. But it does give you the facility. Regex is really not a difficult thing to learn. It does look complicated, but it's not a difficult thing to learn. It's just simple rules, and this allows you to create some really intelligent bots. So regex, there is an option, and you won't find it in many, if any, other chatbots. Certainly we haven't found any ourselves. Then we've got the conversion analytics. Again, this is something that's not often seen. Let me show you what I mean by that. So here, for example, we can see how well the bot is performing. So the green tells us how many messages have been replied to correctly, and the red shows us the responses that weren't replied to, and therefore we can look at those and then make the bot more intelligent. So we can see what people have said, and then adapt our bot to make sure it knows what they're talking about. And here we've done some tests, so you can see why we've got more reds here. But that's how you make your bot more intelligent. So we can see the analytics really clearly. Then we'll come back to here. We've got analytics, we've got the callback API, we've covered that. We've got, in addition, the RSS feed response. What that means is you can pull in from any RSS feed a response to in your bot. So if someone says, "Oh, what's your latest? What that latest menu, you can actually, if you're a restaurant, for example, you can pull the menu items from your website. Or if they want the latest news, then you can pull it in from your website with the news. You can basically pull in any RSS feed. So people want, I don't know, say someone wanted to know the latest flight times, then you could pull in the RSS feed of flight times. Or whatever the business does, most websites have an RSS feed, particularly if they're made with WordPress, and you could have an RSS feed specific to categories or posts that you have on your website. And therefore, if you've got posts relating to particular subject, I don't know, latest items, then it would pull in that RSS feed. Then in addition, we've got a disable and enable chat for specific recipients. So if a recipient says something or does something, you can disable the chat with them, and you can also enable the chat with them if they do something else. So, for example, if they say an expletive, you could say, sorry, we don't deal with customers who respond in that way. This chat will be disabled, and then it will be disabled. Similarly, if they say, sorry, I didn't mean it, you could actually have the chat, enable the chat. So that's an option that's included. Also got the quick reply response, which basically is very similar to the button response, but it's little buttons that will appear in the message. And then we've got also a send file response. So if someone wants some information, you could actually send them a leaflet or flyer, and it goes straight into their Facebook inbox along with the message. So that's pretty cool. Then we've got, these are really important, custom notice on chat interface, a custom opening message, and a custom menu. So let me quickly show you what those are. You'll find these in the settings, under thread settings. And here, this is the text that someone will see as soon as they click the message button on their Facebook page, so that they'll see whatever greeting message you have. And then, as soon as they click the Get Started button, which comes when you build a chatbot, that's automatically put in by Facebook. So as soon as they click the Get Started, you can show them an initial response. Now, why this is important? Because it means that you lead the conversation from the beginning, and therefore you're in control, rather than just letting the customer just type in whatever they want. So the first response can ask them a specific question to get a specific response. And then once you're in control of the conversation, the bot then acts in more or less the same way as you would if you were either on the phone or chatting away yourself, as a human being would. And the other thing we have here is a persistent menu respond, which is what this is here, let me show you again. Actually, we're going to need to come to Facebook. So let's come to Facebook. Okay, if I come to Facebook, let's come to the ChatBotHero. Here we go. And if I click the message, I don't know if you can just see that. Let me see if I can pull this down. This is the persistent response. So it gives it a menu there that people can always access, and you can advise them to access that during your conversation. So that's the menu on the chat box, the opening message, and the custom notice on the chat interface. So these are some of the differences that you'll see between ChatBotHero and other chatbot services. I hope you found that useful, Hold on, let me pull this back up so you can see. There we go. And as always, if you have any questions, just get back in touch and we'll be pleased to help. Okay, thanks for watching.